What we know is there is so much value to be gained out of people who have any of that range of neurodiverse behaviours. But what we need to do is we need to take down some of those barriers.
Take, for example, on here, I've been a guest on podcast.
I'm the opposite. We're dead opposite.
I want to see where I'm standing, what the microphone's like.
If someone was to ask me, I'd say, yeah, cool, like what time?
We are all different now, aren't we? And if you can almost brand your opportunities to make them as accessible as possible, that's the good stuff, because people will then engage with you.
Welcome to In The Mixx, People and Talent, the podcast where we dive into stories, challenges and successes shaping the world of HR and talent. Each episode, we sit down with the people behind the company, HR leaders, talent experts and business innovators to uncover what really drives great teams and thriving workplaces.
So at the start of every podcast, we type our guest's name into ChatGPT and we ask them to give us an overview of them and their career.
Oh, really?
Have you ever done this before? Have you done it before?
No, not at all.
Okay, well, it's normally quite well received, so I hope this is right. I haven't fact checked it either, so if it's not, then it's not a good start. So, Jules Quinn is the Group Director of People Services at MK College Group, a role that you've held since February 2024. Jules began her career in financial services resourcing before moving into further education in 2007 as an English and media lecturer, later becoming course team leader for creative media and games. Since then, Jules has built a strong career in people services, progressing through roles such as people engagement and talent manager, people service manager for operations and executive head of people services. Passionate about leadership, Jules is committed to fostering staff engagement, driving retention, embracing technology to enhance learning, and making a positive impact on learners' lives. Outside of work, she enjoys gardening, particularly growing fruit, vegetable, and flowers.
That is so true. It's scary.
Spooky, right?
Yeah, it really is.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Shall I give this to you so you can keep it?
Yes, I like it.
You go home and show the family. Look at that. Look what this just said about me.
That's amazing. It's all true.
There we go.
Love that. I'm guessing it's probably picked up your hobbies maybe via your website. Do you share that kind of information?
LinkedIn or something?
Not particularly. I maybe post photos of kind of my latest crops of veggies and fruit, and like wheelbarrows full of stuff. So.
Interestingly, one of our recent guests has just gotten into it, and she's just pitched for an allotment which she's actually managed to get, and now she's created a whole personal brand. She's head of talent acquisition. She's created a personal brand, and every week she posts and links it in with recruitment. And
oh no, I love it. It's absolutely brilliant.
So next time we come and see you, we can expect like a sack full of carrots or something.
Yeah, with tomatoes. They're doing quite well. So yeah,
love that.
Sure.
Well, that was certainly some portfolio that Chris whistled through, and that we know that your career path hasn't been so linear. Can you share with us some of the highs, lows, ups and downs of your career?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Things kind of happen, don't they? And I think I'm a bit of a risk taker, and I have my kind of moments of being cool with taking a leap of faith. And I think when I've done that, I've been really lucky and it's landed quite well. So when I was working in financial services, it was the pensions review that kind of landed straight after I finished uni. And I was all right with the pension stuff, but actually it was talking to the people that I was really good at. And so what we decided actually is the business was growing. It's quite a brand new business. As that was growing, there was an opportunity to do some resourcing work. So I really enjoyed that. So kind of fell into it and kind of learned my way through as you go, and ended up running a book of 300 contractors and placing them in various different kind of senior and medium level roles in financial services and fintech. So, and I loved it. And I then had a baby. That was all very exciting. And I got made redundant, actually, with a tiny baby, pregnant with my next. So that was quite a lot. And so I kind of doubled down and went, do you know what? I'd always love to teach. Maybe this is the universe telling me to
do something different,
change my path. So I did. I applied and I turned up for my first teaching day about 7 months pregnant. That was a surprise, I think. So did that, had the baby, carried on, loved it, absolutely loved it. So rewarding, connecting with students, seeing them thrive. Their success is your success, absolutely loved it. Then, so did that at a great college in Cardiff. But we needed to move as a family. My husband's job kind of pulled us to Milton Keynes. So managed to get a role straight through to the college, which was fantastic. So started teaching there. But it was a very different kind of college than we'd come from. It was quite an academic college, a sixth form college in Cardiff. But this was far more vocational, and that opened my eyes then into the kind of different ways of teaching, different things that you could do. So yeah, looking at that, it was fantastic. Great colleagues, great experience, and I loved it. But as the children kind of grew a bit older, they needed me in a bit of a different way. And I was spending all day, every day, kind of with 250, 300 students, all 16 to 19. And actually my girls were at that age where they needed me in a different way. And it wasn't tying shoes and doing hair anymore. It was the angst and the drama and the friendships and all of that. So I was doing it daytime and nighttime. Too much. So all at once. So decided that actually I should look around internally, because I love working for the college. So did that, had some great conversations, and I was so lucky. It was right at the time where they were thinking of just looking at their internal comms strategy. And so they were like, do you want to come on board? I was teaching media, English, those kind of things. So they said, do you want to come on board and let's create a staff magazine? So I was kind of like, oh, okay, leap of faith, let's do that then, which was kind of changing the type of work I was doing, but was still using my skills. So moved into that role, and then that kind of developed into that more people engagement piece, which then bled into the operations piece, which then led into the recruitment and talent space. And then actually I was just gathering up that expertise as I went along. So college were fantastic. I had some great managers, awesome colleagues that really supported me in that. And so, yeah, it was a gift. It was an absolute gift. But
I love that. You're very humble, aren't you? The words kind of luck and opportunity and leap of faith. And actually, I'm a believer in that you create your own luck and your own destiny. And yes, sometimes opportunities will land on your lap, but most people would probably fearfully say, no, it's not the right time, it's too scary, I don't know enough. And actually, you've just thrown yourself into it.
I think if people were to look at your journey and see the role you're in now, they'd probably think it was quite a straightforward, started here, progress. But actually, if you look at it, you're a great example of where you start doesn't always kind of dictate where you're going to end up. And you've kind of, like you said, you've taken a few leap of faith, but also you've had a few curveballs within your own life that's kind of shaped and directed. And I think it's a great example to say that actually, if you back yourself sometimes, you take that leap of faith, you take that jump out of your comfort zone and push yourself and keep pushing yourself, you'll end up where you're meant to be. Would you agree with that?
100%. I think you do. You have to be your biggest fan. You have to cheerlead for yourself.
It's such an American thing though, isn't it? In England, it's like people cringe when you're like,
Chris, you're one of them. I'm like the cheerleader, and he's like, stop punching me out now.
I think as a society and as a nation, we don't do it well, right? Whereas if you go to America, bloody hell, they're the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah,
you know, we know a lot of people that say, "Oh God, Americans," and I'm like, "Oh, we love the Americans."
It's that, and I think you've got to have good people around you. Kind of when I was really really young, I'll never forget this and live by it to this day. My dad always said, "Only spend time with people who make you feel good about yourself. Don't waste your time doing things that you're not getting something out of." And I think that's so important to kind of keep hold of that thread a little bit and kind of go, and a lot of people they stay in the same career, the same kind of role, same industry, same sector, and that's absolutely fine. For me, I'm far more flighty, which is probably the reason why I don't have any tattoos, even though I would love to have many. I just don't commit to anything to that. I might change my mind. I might be in a different place. I might do something different. So
you get like to a certain age, you think, oh, why did I get that?
Why did you do that? Or you get a bandwagon or something, and all of a sudden something goes really wrong, and you don't want to be associated with that. So I just I'm always looking for what's the next opportunity. What's changing in my life? What's changing in the world around it? What's going on in the sector? How can I make a difference? So
that's really refreshing. In a lot of organisations, still there's a stigma around gaps in CVs and jumpy CVs. Why have they gone from this to that, or why they only sustained 6 months or 12 months? And actually having someone like you leading the organisation when it comes to people and talent, I think that's invaluable, because you're clearly going to see things from a different perspective, because you've been so ambitious, and like you said, what else is out there, and that genuinely is the case with a lot of people.
I think if you was an external candidate and you sent your CV in with your previous experience, they probably wouldn't have taken a risk on you, right? But because you're in the situation, they know you, know your skills, your capabilities, and think that in itself is a different.
Yeah, and I think kind of we definitely take that approach at the college in terms of looking at our candidates' transferable skills, because we see those in our students and we understand kind of how they can get something out, how they can thrive. So I think, you know, you see so many job adverts, don't you, where it's kind of like must have experience in financial services. And it's like, well, what does that mean? How is that different? And yeah, there's a time and there's a place for that, certainly. But it is about those transferable skills and kind of maxing those out.
100%. So going back to your transition into your HR and people services side of your career, would you say there's any part that is like a light bulb moment that helped you navigate into this transition, or do you think that it just kind of happened because of the way your career flowed?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I've been doing a lot of work with students around communication, like my degree's in comms, and so we've been doing a lot of work around that, and it was kind of then, well, actually, how's the organisation communicating to its people, and could I be part of that? And so what was my experience like as an employee, as a lecturer in that environment, or culture media in that environment, and how did that make me feel? So it was kind of like bringing that into that HR space of kind of, actually, I've done that job in this organisation, and I had a real clarity around what messages I even saw, never mind read. Getting internal comms to land is really tricky. So I think it was about understanding, okay, so I'm aware of my experience. How do we then make sure that we understand the organisation's experience? So not just in my little bubble with my team and my line manager, but also actually in all the different parts of our business. I mean, we've got a 1,200 headcount across the business, we've got 2 distinct sides, there's a lot of people, a lot of different specialisms. So kind of trying to bring that into that new kind of role, but I think as well, like, so different. So from that teaching background, everything's quite regimented. So you work on a timetable and you're there, and there's a cycle of
Set modular.
Yeah. So you get that, and then moving into people services, it was like you could only have a cup of tea whenever you wanted. Like that was just revolutionary, you know. So you can be a bit more reactive, and you can change direction. So in a way, it kind of opened my eyes to kind of maybe perhaps kind of agile ways of working, so that actually, because a lot of the work that we got in people services is reactive. Something happens, it needs sorting. You know, we can put the best laid plans, but actually you're quite reactionary. And so it was a very different way of working, I suppose. So, yeah.
Just switching back to how multifaceted your career is, I'm a massive believer in the values that are instilled in you from a very young age tend to play a huge part in where you land. What in particular, maybe 1, 2 or 3 things have been ingrained in you from such a young age that have helped steer you throughout and navigate you throughout your career?
Oh, that's a great question, isn't it? I think so many things spring to mind. I grew up in Cardiff with an incredible family.
Where's your accent gone?
Oh, I know.
I can still hear
We've
it.
been in 50 every now and
We
again.
spoke about this before, and I was like,
We couldn't pinpoint it though, could we?
Yeah, every now and again, in particular words.
When you go back.
Oh, when I go back.
words. That's the one.
Do you come back and everyone's like,
Yeah.
who's Jules? What's up with
Spend an hour
Jules?
on the phone to my mum, and then I'll go on a call, and it's...
No, I can completely hear it. I'm picking it up.
But, you know, I had a great childhood, and I think it was... Mum and Dad were really kind of community focused, and it was a lot around sort of acts of service. So it was kindness, it was connections, and it was kind of almost a bit an expectation that kind of you roll your sleeves up.
Yeah.
You know, you get stuck into things, and if the chairs need putting out, then you just jump in and you put a chair out. You know, so that kind of never being afraid to get stuck in and do the core stuff, as well as zooming out and getting that bigger picture piece. So I think that definitely. I think as well, kind of thinking about how you can be so different from your peers or from family members. I have an older brother. We're very different. He's got a very different career to me. He works for a bank. His kind of values are at the core. They're the same, but actually our wants and our needs around our kind of life experience are very different. So mine are very much focused on that community piece. He's going to tell me off if he ever sees this, but it's that community piece.
You just say some nice bits as well, just to
he's
butter him up.
lovely. He's in a band. It's very cool, very cool. But I think it's about kind of forming relationships really matter to me. I really value them. So, and I think there's a kind of those layers that you can build in your relationships with people, whether that's colleagues or managers, friends, family, whatever. It's the same. You know, so it's about kind of being authentic. It's about having integrity, being there for people. So yeah, I'd say that's all.
So having a roll your sleeve up mentality. You're never too good or too big to do anything or try anything or lead from the front and show your team how it's done. I love that. And then the other one is more around community relationships. You never know who knows who or how that person might help you or you might help them in the future.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, paths cross. The world's a small place in many ways,
100%,
and you never know where you might be in 5 years' time or someone else might be. And it's about making sure that you're just being true, I suppose.
You mentioned around connection with people. That brings us nicely on to the next question, was around how you see culture playing a role in recruitment and onboarding and retention, I guess, within the further education sector.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Culture is so important, and there's kind of two sides to that coin for me, certainly. It's that culture fit and it's the culture add. So actually, we're driven by our values, we're driven by our kind of strategy of fairer futures for everyone, not just our students, our stakeholders, our staff as well. So what is this going to do for that candidate? How is this going to change things for them?
I find it fascinating because, especially when I think about further education, is because is the culture shaped by the staff and the leadership or the students or both?
We are a community in and of ourselves, so it's kind of, you know, if we were our own village almost, you know, because we have the range of different backgrounds, different ages, different people, but we also have the different specialisms across a piece. So it's a right melting pot of humans. So it brings it together. I mean, we've got our organisational values, of course we have them on a website, all of that. But actually, I think the business runs on kindness. There's a way of working that is all linked to the values. It's respect and it's kindness, but it's kind of everyone that's there links to our purpose and it's kind of there for the right reasons. And so for us, when we're getting applications, when we're reviewing candidates, and it's like, do they get it? Because that's the gig, you know. It's tough. Not many people are joining education chasing the money. That's not what we do. Let's be totally transparent about that. But actually, it's about the making the difference. And you see that. You see that. We used to do a really lovely activity as part of our staff induction, actually. And the first question was, okay, you've been here for a week or so now, a couple of days. What do you see and what do you hear? And what does that feel like? So what's your impression of being with us? And you can't, and the feedback was really interesting because it was our culture. That's what was happening. People were welcoming, they're saying hello, they're passing by, they're being kind, you know. And I think making sure that we represent that in our candidate experience is absolutely critical.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because what you think the culture is, and then maybe when someone new joins and tells you back, they don't always align. And actually, sometimes head out the sand. That's interesting. And then you can kind of navigate it. And I was going to touch on something else as well. We mentioned around the students and stuff, but I think making a difference with them students nowadays in today's world is ever evolving, right? So I'm presuming your staff recruitment must be changing a lot because the skill set that they needed to support the young adults that are going into education, you know, let's not go into digital and technology because that's a whole different podcast, but the skill set that's needed to navigate the evolving world of society that we're living in for the young people especially.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best test of our culture is how do we react when things don't go to plan? What if things go a little bit wrong or we get a bit sidetracked? How do we kind of pick ourselves up and run with that? And, you know, a couple of years ago, we had a massive increase in our student numbers. So the demographics in Milton Keynes have changed. What was on offer for our 16 to 19-year-olds had changed across the area. And actually, we needed to pull ourselves together and respond to that to make sure that our learners had the best experience. So we had to pull together, and it was collaboration that got us through. And the students see that it matters. They see that, you know, and college is a very different environment from schools. We offer very different kind of setup and a different place to do your learning.
Yeah.
But that's what prepares them. It helps prepare them for the future role they might have at work. So
It's interesting you say that. I remember when I first went to college, and I don't know whether I've been living under a rock, but I didn't turn up for a lesson one day. And I went in the next day and the teacher didn't say anything to me. And I was like, well, that's weird. No one's even mentioned that. I was like, well, I can actually do what I want. And also, I guess it's kind of you reap the rewards of what you put in, right? And I think, yeah, it's a very different environment to school for sure.
100%. But we know that if we have highly engaged staff who are delivering exceptional experiences, that markedly improves the outcomes for our students. So we need to create an environment in which that happens. We need to do that.
That's a really good point. I know that you're super passionate around retention, aren't you? So what do you guys do differently to ensure that you retain good people? Because we all want to work hard to attract the right people for our culture or to add to our culture. I think sometimes the hardest part, particularly this day and age, is coming out of the recession. Actually, how do you keep the good people? And how do you know if something's not right?
I think especially in this sector as well. You know, I've got some friends that are in teaching, not in college, but in high school. And it just says some of the children, Chris, you just wouldn't believe some of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, it's a tough gig. There's no denying it. It really is a tough gig. And there's a lot of demands on people's time. And I think, you know, the key is listening. We need to listen to our people. We need to make sure we're really understanding. We're building that into our processes, our initiatives, all of those things. But there's kind of another piece to this, which is about knowing ourselves, like genuinely knowing ourselves. So, okay, and that could be, all right, what benefits are we offering? Is that right? Does that matter? Do people care about that? You know?
That's an interesting one, because you think naturally, certainly as leaders of a smaller organisation, you think that everyone is motivated in the same way as you are, being in our industry. Think it would be obvious, but the margins have changed drastically since we were consultants, somewhat. Well, I don't even want to show my age now, but things have changed so much. And like, how can you be in such a sales-driven, self-motivated environment, but you're not motivated by money? It doesn't make sense. But actually, when you peel it all back, it really does. And it's just about knowing who is leaning into what and what things make them happy. What stage in their life are they at? What are they striving towards? And I guess that is not too dissimilar in your industry.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've got a multi-generational workforce. We have an aging workforce in reality, and people have different wants and needs. As the kind of talent pipeline kind of brings us more young people, potentially, that's a whole different game to play because they're looking for something different. We know that's coming because we see that in our students. So they're the talent pipeline for the future for every sector, including us and as a functional area as well. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but really knowing that for sure rather than anecdotally is really important.
You've skipped forward 2 questions for me.
Oh, how exciting.
Because I'm going to skip forward to it because you just touched on it. But we spoke about how you balance the immediate needs of your current employees whilst always having the future needs of learners, you know, at the forefront and tomorrow's workforce.
Yeah, I mean, we need to be plugged in, essentially, to as much as possible. So we need to create and maintain those great partnerships with our stakeholders, employers. What do they want? What are the skills they want our students to pick up whilst they're with us that's going to make them truly employable and successful with them? So it's having really strong connections there, but it's also really understanding the experience that students have had prior to coming to us. And what does that feel like? What needs to shift for them to be more successful with us? But it's also kind of like what are they interested in? And that changes, that evolves over time. all of that wrapped up in a background of kind of changing qualifications, awarding bodies, the Department for Education, Ofsted, all of those things. And it's balancing all of those influences on top of our place. So what's our environment like? What's happening in the city? Is there growth? Lots of it. What are we going to do with that? So yeah, it's making sure that we've got eyes in every direction. We're plugged into what the next thing is going to be, and we're leveraging the relationships that we have.
And given we've got first-hand experience in actually working closely with the college, I can 100% say that I see that. The work that we've done with you guys and how invested you are in bridging that skills gap and paving the way for the future workforce and working with people like us. I think it's been an invaluable experience for us, isn't it? For sure.
It's been great. Has been great. I think for us, we love giving back, especially to the younger generation as well, that are kind of sometimes don't know what they want to do or don't have that person that can steer them or give them that information that they might need. So we found it really good. I loved coming into the college and meeting some of the students and working with some of the students. It's been great. You mentioned around aging workforce. So would you say like the new generation of teachers or lecturers, etc., they have been around for many years? You're not getting much new blood come through?
Well, we've had to change our strategy because it's well documented through media that we have a shortage of teaching or delivery staff across the whole education sector. So we've got to be a bit more creative where we source our talent from. So there's lots of different things that we've been trialing. So we spent quite a lot of time actually going to university level careers fairs. We're engaging with PhD students to see actually, okay, well, what have you thought about this? Come and see us, come and see our space, come and understand what it is that we do. You could do this aligned to your own studies, those kinds of things. So there's kind of like that kind of grad market in a sense. But there's also that whole piece around dual professionalism, which I'm hoping we're going to kind of break the back of it and dig into that a little bit more. So that's a piece around kind of people still remaining with their existing employer, but actually whether it's through corporate social responsibility or whether it's through developing their mentoring and coaching skills as an objective that they have internally, that actually they come and they spend some time either co-creating, co-designing curriculum or being in that space with our students, influence them, sharing their experiences. So actually that's a real kind of catalyst for change in terms of where we source our talent from. And we need to do that because we don't have 100 teachers sat on a bench outside waiting to just have their turn.
If only, right?
If only, absolutely. So we need to be quite innovative in that space. But there's a lot of people that we've taken on in the last 12 months or so who teaching is brand new for them. And it isn't at all what they thought it was. So we're having to break some of those stereotypes that are very traditional. Stand at the front, this is a classroom, there's a bell, all of this stuff. That isn't how we teach anymore. It's experiential, it's project-based learning, it's all of those kinds of things that make a difference and are better for work readiness. So in terms of where we get our people from, we're evolving that all the time.
I think them traditional methods from many, many years ago don't work with today's classroom learners, right? There's so many different ways of learning. Just I'm going well off on a tangent here, but just one of the things I was thinking, so post-pandemic, obviously a lot of people change careers, and like you said, there's not 100 teachers sitting on a bench waiting for a job. Do you find that the lack of, the depth of the pools of teachers that you can kind of pick from being slimmer, it's driving salaries up? And
there's definitely a challenge.
A war for talent, right?
Yeah, 100%. And also there's a very different kind of structure for teaching in schools, from teaching in further education, from teaching in higher education. So we don't all get an equal kind of piece of the pie or enough the same level of attention. So, actually we're really limited in what we do. It is about kind of that contribution that we can make at the end of the day, looking at the income of different courses. What we need to do is we need to develop courses that meet the needs of employers, but meet the needs of students. But equally, we can only run courses that are going to give us some income. So it's about us taking actually quite a grown-up approach, and us lobbying and us working with council, working with other public bodies to make sure that we can influence that, because we can only work within the financial envelope that we have. So, and we want to be competitive, but actually further education still needs to be fair across the board. So if we suddenly went out and said, right, we're knocking 10 grand on top of our teaching rates, everyone in our place would be screaming hallelujah. That isn't happening, can I just say? But if we were to do that, then what does that do to that broader economy? What does that do then? We all just end up then robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And it does nothing.
Yeah.
And I guess if you bring someone in that's paid more than someone that's been there for years, and it just creates an environment that's
And
not...
also we are unionised. So we have great relationships with our union colleagues. I have to say we've done so much work in the last couple of years. It's been so productive and helpful for everyone involved in that to understand that financial landscape and being really clear and say, okay, well actually, let's talk about hybrid working framework. Let's talk about flexible working. Let's talk about different types of benefits. Let's talk about CPD, professional development. That's where the gig is. We've done a big drive the last 12 months in particular on internal progression. So we set ourselves, frankly, a bit of an aspirational target. But we had 146 people in our organisation move up. So in very different ways in a 12-month period. So we've invested in our people in a different way.
Yeah.
We don't have that luxurious cash kind of like the corporate world might. But what we do have is some awesome teachers, loads of experience of doing education. So actually, we know we're good at that.
Yeah.
So that's the value add. That's our USP in a sense, that we can help people grow their careers and they don't have to be linear. Just a nice segue back to where we started. It can be squiggly, you know, so people can grow in different directions.
I think the fact that you've got that there as a kind of walking case study,
Yeah.
you know, because people can say, oh, there, you get opportunities or you get new career paths or whatever. Saying it and actually seeing it are two different things sometimes. So that's really great for your potential people coming in, you know, and you especially looking at your career path then.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, and I'm not alone. We're spending quite a lot of time now thinking about, okay, let's understand people's career aspirations. What are we looking at in terms of succession planning? How is that going to go? We need to make sure we understand that alongside how we need to change as an organisation to meet employer needs, what do our students want, what's happening externally, and all of those things. So we've got this, it's really become such a priority for us to have great data, and great data helps us make better decisions, but we are very keen that there's a story behind that data and is like, it's 7 today, make it 8 tomorrow. That's not how...
Bring it to life, doesn't it? Through story.
I'm going to throw a hand grenade in, Jules.
Oh.
We have had a guest on the show that was super passionate about neurodiversity. Really keen to hear your swing on things. Being in the educational sector, it all starts with learning and how the human brain works and how it differs from a neurotypical brain. So firstly, why is that important to you? And secondly, at what point did you start leaning into it more and making sure that the wider business has a greater understanding and it is supporting of individuals with autism, with ADHD and so on?
Oh, absolutely is. We've learned so much in the last couple of years, to be totally honest about that. What we see in our student population is an incredible increase in need in terms, even if we just kind of focus in on our exam access arrangements, so people needing extra time, different filters, needing a reader, needing a scribe, using IT, all of those kind of things. They're that warning sign that actually there is more of a need than ever before. There are more challenges for our young people in particular. And we see that coming through then in our talent pipeline. What we know is that actually there is so much value to be gained out of people who have any of that range of neurodiverse behaviours. And we know that there's a room for them in our organisation. You know, that whole technology piece, so digital technology is just one example where that is so true. But what we need to do is we need to take down some of those barriers. So in terms of having a compliance kind of monkey on one shoulder and a regulation monkey on another shoulder, we've got to do our stuff, we have to tick our boxes wherever they are, but that doesn't mean we can't be a bit creative. So not everyone is comfortable with an application form for example. Some people might find that actually that's quite personal. I don't know who I'm sharing that with. And so people think differently. And we need to accommodate that. So we're doing a lot more now around supporting at that very, very early stage. So it's kind of like, just register. Just tell us you want to do something, and then we will walk you through and support you. Our hiring managers, again, are great. We've put in, we've called it ACE Recruiter. So we've put in a hiring managers training program. So we've got a couple of stages in that, meets our compliance needs, meets our quality, diversity and inclusion needs. But layered into that is that whole piece about understanding how you must change your processes to make everything accessible. So it's the pre-call.
And has everyone got on board with that?
It's broadly.
Some more than others.
Yeah. I think
We'll get some resistance, but it's just the unknown, isn't it, more than anything, or doing things differently to what they've always done.
I find that it's the unknown though, and people are scared, not maybe scared's the wrong word, but fear of being judged if you talk about it when you don't know the answers and you haven't got the knowledge.
Yeah, and it's an interesting angle as well has been that hiring managers want to follow our processes. Do you know? Whereas actually what we're saying is no, flex them, flex them so it's more appropriate. So if people ask for interview questions in advance, share them, but share them with all of the candidates, not just the one that's asked them. So then you're making this.
I mean, let's be honest, with AI and tech now, any candidate can put the job spec into AI, plug it in, and get, give me a list of 10 questions that I think the interviewer would ask based on this job description. So it's no different from sending them the questions in advance. Some people are more, take for example on here, some of our guests have been like, yes, so blasé, I'm down. We'll talk about it before.
Questions.
And then others, it's been a real learning curve for me. Others are more visual. Please, can you send me the questions in advance? Firstly, appreciate this communications and marketing teams that would like to, have privy to what's going out there. But secondly, it's like that. I think I'm one of those people. I've been a guest on podcasts.
I'm the opposite. We're dead opposite. So Gemma, you would want to know.
Or doing a podcast, I need to have a call or a meeting with the host beforehand. I want to see where I'm standing, what the microphone's like. Honestly, I am detailed. I've done some big talks before. Yeah.
If someone was to ask me, I'd say, yeah, cool. Like, what time?
I have to have a trial run with the mic.
Yeah.
And I like my questions. So I don't think that differs much from what we're discussing.
Maybe that's why I come across so unprofessional, and Gemma's like just on it.
I wouldn't say.
That's why it works.
We are all different though, aren't we? That's kind of 100%. The point. And we can obsessively fixate on that and to the point of saying, well, no, everybody must have the same process and all of these things. But actually, it's just about being really honest. And if you can kind of almost brand yourself or brand your opportunities to make them as accessible as possible, that's the goodness, that's the good stuff, because people will then engage with you. And it may be that the fear of God is in them to come in sight. So what we do is that we'll invite them in and come in and walk around, and they can try out the car park, and they can come in and see the site, meet a couple of people. This is how the barriers work. All of these kind of things that take all of that away.
Which is so interesting, because as we move out of pandemic, everyone's like, we must save time, video interview, why do they need to come in? And our business is completely the opposite. We encourage our clients to do face-to-face, isn't it? Firstly, someone that is neurodiverse may struggle on camera anyway. The whole thought of that for an autistic person is like off the scale. Where do I look? Do I want to even look down the lens? And, those kind of things come about.
You have some interview feedback sometime, like, really liked them, but they didn't really hold eye contact. And we're like, okay, have you thought about why that might be? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't mean they're not engaged.
But then even seeing, like you said, for an autistic person, seeing the car park, where they would sit. What does the canteen look like? Where's the reception?
Yeah.
And I'm going to be overwhelmed when I walk through the door in the morning. Is it chaos?
People might interpret that as, from their own perspective, that's part of the test. That isn't part of the test, but that will kind of bring on anxiety, bring on some fears, and we don't need that. So it's about making that environment as safe and secure, and then getting that confidence out of them. Yeah, that's really important. But it's interesting on the whole kind of Teams interviews or pre-calls with the AI beast in the room. That's all quite funny, interesting. which has made us change some of our processes a little bit more. So we're going for more experiential questions and, you know, trying to develop in Ari's program around, okay, how do you spot that? How do you spot that? How do you understand? So if you spot that, that's fine. Because the irony is we want people that are great at using AI because they'll be doing that while working for us. So we want people who are really comfortable with that. But we also need to be really discerning about, but do they know their stuff? Do they have that expertise? So yeah, it's a game we play at the minute.
Before we go on to some final questions with you, this is another question that's like not on script at all. Fascinating subject, and obviously the amount of young learners you have, like you said, has grown exponentially in the last few years. What do you do as a college in regards to potentially supporting people that could be neurodiverse that maybe haven't been diagnosed, but you're spotting that? Because we, as a family, we've been through a journey ourselves recently, and like the NHS queues are, well, we thought it was 2 years, but we watched a documentary the other day and they said it's 4 to 8 years to get a diagnosis, you know. And also some younger students might not actually know that they have it, or I don't know. So I find that actually it's a lot more accepted to talk about it, but more like in a jokey way nowadays. Just from the time I spend around, I have my children and young adults, or young adults would say
teenager.
One teenager, one young adult, and when they're talking to friends and whatever, they're quite openly say something, say, oh, that's my ADHD, but none of them are diagnosed, or oh, I think they could be autistic because of X, Y, and Z. And I feel like it's a real fine line between throwing it around and joking about it when actually, have you been assessed, or the people that really might have it don't even know anything about it.
Oh, 100%. And navigating that and the differences of requirements in support is an absolute art.
It's a minefield.
100%. So we, you know, every year we've been enrolling. This week GCSE results are out in Italy, and so we've been pulling on that. And actually we've got incredibly talented and salt of the earth humans who work in our autism specialist roles. They're learning support advisors, TSAs. We've got a whole wellbeing team, because what we find is not only do we have people who may have been diagnosed when they were pretty little people, but actually they've not had a great experience. So that's then led to some behavioural issues. So we've got those to deal with as well. And so it's a different kind of support. So there's there's a big soup and full of different ingredients. So we have quite a lot of parents coming to us with their young person looking to enrol, and they'll say, oh, but they do have this. I'm like, no, that's fine. And you can see that relief. You can see their demeanour change. We get them straight in to meet our specialists who go, okay, we've done this 1,000 times. It's going to be okay. Do you know? And that's so powerful. And they come to us and they thrive in, well, they'll do one course, then another, then another, then another, to kind of build themselves up. Because the experience it feels like a luxury for some of our students, I'm sure, because they wouldn't necessarily have had that before. Do you know? So if we do, very early on, we do lots of access arrangement assessments with students, kind of saying, what would make you be able to perform at your best? What do you need? What do you...
Did you have someone that like heads up that department?
Oh yeah, we have...
Amazing.
Yeah, incredible people. And, you know, we do annual staff awards, and, you know, regularly we get nominations for that corner of our organisation, because they have so much impact.
I'd love for us to come down and spend some time with that.
You should so see our team.
I just think that it's just like, it's so important. So important.
But how eye-opening, because I bet there aren't many organisations that are at that point.
Or they're playing catch-up.
What do you need from us to thrive? It's probably the best way to put it, because it could be something as simple as, please don't sit me near the music, or please can I sit on the end of the bank because I find it too chaotic in the middle, or my inbox will look really, really messy, but actually in my brain it's organised. Yeah. Don't judge me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it could be a multitude of different things, but I certainly feel that one simple question could change everything for people that are diagnosed or think they could be neurodiverse, because we just assume this is the way to organise yourself. This is where you're going to sit. This is how you're going to operate your day. actually it may be that they're totally different way of doing that. They're way more creative than the way that we've structured our day. Something even simple like in recruitment, normally you tend to do your business development in the morning, because the saying goes, once you get knee deep in candidates and recruiting and interviewing, your BD can go out the window because the day just carries you away. But actually, someone might prefer to do it in the afternoon, or might much prefer to do it face to face and on the phone. So it's just about having a little bit of a different. What are you laughing at?
No. I'm sitting there thinking, no, we definitely do it in the morning.
Describing me, I'm more face to face, and I'm most going to prefer the afternoon.
But it's so true, and kind of, you know, COVID did us a bit of a favour in one way.
Kind of sped up.
It gave us an opportunity to reflect on what are we doing, what are we actually doing, and how long does it take us to do that stuff. And so that kind of changed the game in lots and lots of ways, in terms of, well, actually, it's about outputs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it about outputs?
Yeah.
They've fast forwarded us by 10 years
Yeah.
in the way of work.
Yeah.
And it needs to evolve, and it is evolving. And I think, you know, we definitely kind of do that as part of our learner experience at college. But, you know, through our apprentices as well, that gives us another opportunity to engage with employers, because an apprentice may have some additional needs. They could be neurodiverse, whatever they might need. And actually we can work with that employer then and say, not just the 1 day a week when they're with us, do they get that? But here's some ideas. This is what you could bring into your business. It might not just be for that one apprentice. What might happen is that could support a broader workforce. So there's an opportunity for us to share those skills and influence.
So suggest you have a crystal ball right now and you're looking ahead into the future. What do you, Jules, see as being a big disruptor to the people services division?
Oh, it's tricky, isn't it? I mean, it's easy to say AI. I don't think it's AI. I think it's emerging
I think that's everyone's go-to. It's like a safety blanket now. I'll just say AI.
I'll have AI. I think it's broader than that. I think it's emerging technology. So in terms of how we communicate, I think that will change dramatically. How we set our expectations will change. I think there's much more of a push around ethical working. I think that'll have an influence. So I think, for example, talent will be looking for employers who are more sustainable and prove it. And I think that greenwashing piece is getting a bit tired and old. We want more than that. So I think there's kind of like ethics, I think, will be something to really focus on. How ethical are we in our business practices? And can we prove that? Does that help us secure and retain our talent? You know, so I think that's something that could be quite disruptive. So I don't know. I think there's quite a lot in all of the different elements. I think the new bill that's going to land, I think that's going to change the game.
Just
Interesting. No one said that, have they yet?
Well, we were talking about it this morning in our morning meeting with the team about the Employment Rights Bill. It's just a minefield, but
it is.
Yeah, it's definitely going to change.
And
a lot.
We need clarity, don't we? There's still quite a lot of you layer it over your organisation. You think, oh, well, hang on, no, we didn't realise. Well, actually, we need to really think about this. Yeah. So the contingent workers piece for us is massive. So
you never know though, because the Muppets down in London will probably change it in the next 2 months anyway.
I mean, that's the thing. We've been tracking it, and it's a bit like a boyfriend girlfriend drama, frankly. Because you're like, it's happening there. What's the reference period? Who knows? Let's do another one. And yeah, it's hard to keep up. It is. So I think we'll have a big impact.
From people services standpoint, do you worry about the future of communication and that's going to be dissolved with the use of AI and tech? Because I find people, especially the younger generation, don't really know what it is to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And that's been quite evident when we've been hiring, and also amongst our children, to be quite frank, isn't it?
You say that, my daughter Shannon gets a lot of references on this podcast. Hope she don't listen to every episode. We're quite far into this one, so she might miss this. But right, if I WhatsApp her, it takes 2-3 days to reply.
Wow.
Right? If I text her, it's about a day. If I ring her, she's pretty good at answering, to be fair. She answers pretty sharply, or she'll call me back. But about 5 years ago, I downloaded Snapchat. I no longer have it because I just can't get on with it. Mate, she will reply in a second. You Snapchat her, 1 second. And my son, who plays for a football team, they're in a group chat and it's all in Snapchat. Everything's Snapchat.
Yeah.
It's not WhatsApp. It's like Snapchat. So you know, if we've been at a football match or if we've been out or whatever, we get in the car and he picks his phone up. The first thing he'll do is go on Snapchat. And you'll just see red dot, red dot, red dot, red dot, red dot. And I'm going a bit off on a tangent here, but we went on a holiday to Bulgaria recently. And there was 2 young girls sat in the coach in front of us. And they were 20, I'd say 20 to 23, something like that. No parents with them, just 2 girls. They were having a right old chat. And me and Gemma there chatting away. And it was about 1 a.m. We was on this coach for about an hour and a half. Gemma fell asleep. And it was about half an hour away.
In there, didn't you?
She always falls asleep. It was about half an hour away. So I'm just sitting there and I'd left my phone in England.
Oh no.
So no, on
purpose.
Oh really?
For a whole week. So I turned my phone off.
Just to disconnect.
So I turned my phone off, turned my laptop off. I was like,
so
I just need to reconnect, right? And when you've got no phone, you're very present. You see everything that's going on around you. So I've got these 2 young girls sat in front of me, and this is what I saw. Like Snapchat, like bang, bang. I'm not kidding you. In half an hour, she must have had 200 pictures with messages. Are you familiar with Snapchat?
Yeah.
Taking
My
pictures
girl.
of the roads, the drive.
So she's going, picture come through, look, slip, flat,
But then
take a
it's
picture,
sitting
flip,
with the
flat,
floor.
flip, flat, flip, flat, flip, flat. And I've watched it for about half an hour and I've got off and my brain is absolutely pickled.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of these people, I don't know any of these pictures, what's being said in the pictures. And I'm just thinking, oh, Jesus. And I sound really old now. I think I'm quite down with the kids, but it's making me sound old. I just think, bloody hell, these kids, what are they up against?
No, the human brain is not designed to endure that amount of dopamine. Like, it's just constant. And that's why people's brains are crashing and they're then caused to communicate less. Also in the workplace as well, you've got this whole battle with, probably not so much at the college, but this whole battle with work from home, work in the office, hybrid working, and everyone's still going about it. Like, do what works for you. In recruitment, I know that I wouldn't have got where I am today ever working from home, because a lot of it is down to what you said right at the start, Jules, relationships. Make yourself known to the people that matter and lock that relationship in with them. But you know, working from home majority of the week, people are less likely to lean upon each other, to walk over to their desk, to ask a genuine question. And in people's services, I can imagine how that can sometimes have a bit of a detrimental effect to what you're trying to create. It's almost working against it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the intensity of it, the noise that takes up your brain space, but it's also the immediacy of it. And I think the risk in that is that where is the space and the time for some deep thinking? How can we create a space? So be reflective and just stop. Don't do it. Do not reply straight away. Think about that and actually what's going to get you to where you want to be. Think about how you're engaging. Think about how you're responding. And I think it's so much noise. I mean, you know, my girls are 19 and 17 now, so we are well in a world of Snapchat. I've refused to engage with it entirely.
If you want to get your children's attention, get Snapchat.
No, honestly, I don't know.
And they will literally mock you for it. They're like, oh, mum thinks it's cool, she's got Snapchat.
But that's the thing. But you know, it's kind of like, how can they hold attention for that longer period of time?
Well, do you know what? It's so easy for me to sit here and say, oh, these 2 girls, 200 pictures, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, if I had my phone with me, I probably wouldn't have even noticed because I would have been on my phone.
No, but you're right, and what you're saying is that being present, I think some people find that really difficult.
It's allowing yourself to be bored.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Being bored. Yesterday I was
You
at
say being
Centre
bored,
Parks.
but you pick up, like my week away, if you don't mind me sharing, I was bored for the first day, but then actually it was amazing because I was seeing things that I would normally have missed.
Yeah, but as an adult, we understand that. But children, that it's a whole new level. Yesterday, I was at Centre Parks with my son and our ops director's daughter, both 10. And whilst we were playing games, doing things interactive, having fun, they were absolutely sound. The minute we started walking around to do a tour, both of them, near enough in chorus, said, I'm bored. Wait, do you know what? That's okay. It's actually okay to be bored because you're going to be bored for a few minutes. That's cool. Like, get on with it. We're not going to do something, you know, we haven't got you. They didn't have a phone with them anyway, but you need to be bored. You need to feel what that feels like.
100%. And I think it's kind of like, but then you're in your own head and it's about, you know, how do we help our young people be all right with that? be all right with kind of all the thoughts, all the noise whirring around, and it's kind of it, and that's a skill. Actually, it's a skill to just be quiet, and like I say, sit on a coach, sit on a train, wait in a queue, and not be head down the phone. I was sat on my phone before we started this, and it's just natural reaction, isn't it?
That's completely.
Do you know what? I think I've got a really good idea for our podcast moving forward. You just give me an idea. I'm going to put a little camera in the room, right? And then we're going to test each guest, sit them in there for 5 minutes and see what they do. And anyone that doesn't reach for their phone or their laptop will be like, yes,
give them a prize.
You won, yeah.
Well, I'm well up on tangent. We're going to move on in 1 second, but I walk the dog, not every night. I'll get in there before Gem does, but I walk the dog, and if I take my phone, I normally ring my daughter, or I'd ring my son, or I'd ring my mum, or I'd ring someone to fill the gap, but also catch up. It's obviously in a busy environment.
You're multitasking.
Work, etc. I've not walked the dog. I've not walked the dog
For 2 years.
I've not taken my phone a few times recently, and I'm walking around the back field. We've got a lovely field at the back of our house, and the last time I walked it, I saw a ladybird, I saw 4 butterflies, I saw a fox, I saw about 8 rabbits, and a deer jumped out of me in the bush.
Wow. That's incredible.
Right, and the sunset was unbelievable. I sound really sad, but I come home through my back door into my garden. I was like, that is like 10 metres from my back garden. I opened the back gate and I'm there.
Yeah.
And I was like, and normally I don't see that because I'm not looking for it. I'm like that. And I'm like, come on, dog, catch up. Where are you? Do you know what I mean? It's just
Take it for granted.
100%.
Kind of really invest in creating those opportunities for that quiet, for that space. That's my pleasure. My gardening is that I'm there. I can do whatever. Everyone leaves me alone for one. I don't take my phone with me, and I can potter about. And it's just about kind of that's like a really reset kind of moment where you're kind of being productive. Everything's busy. People bring me tea. It's fabulous, Joe, and you can do that. And actually, it is a good switch off.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, we do. We need to be clever enough to keep doing that, I think.
I'm going to tie 2 questions into one before I hand over to Gem for the last one. So, who has had the biggest influence on your career? That's the first question. Okay. Second question is, what's the best piece of career advice you've ever received or that you could give?
Okay, best bit of career advice would probably be braver. Be braver and don't be afraid to show your talent. Do you know? So kind of you can, like that kind of real motivational sort of, be brave enough to make that application, have that conversation, just do it, because it's the old adage, isn't it? Kind of, you're better off regretting things you've done than things you haven't. So I think that sticks with me. And every now and again, you've got to just kind of put your big girl pants on and go, yeah, I'm gonna send that email, I'm gonna do the thing. So it's kind of like, at your core, just be a bit brave and back yourself. I think greatest inspiration, there's been loads of amazing people I've worked with. I've had several very great bosses that inspire me, and what I'm grateful for actually is that they've all been really different from each other. So they've brought out different things in me. So kind of I've had a line manager who's incredibly analytical, and it's made me go, oh, I get it, right. So now I will bring the data to back that up, and that will be a priority in how we're working. I've had people who've kind of really invested in me and said, you can do this. And let's try it. Don't worry. Let's try it. Let's give it a go. I want you to take on this team. You're like, well, ready? Are we ready for that? And it's kind of just going, yeah, and if it doesn't work out, it's fine. So like accepting that actually, if we are going to fail, let's do it fast. Let's be honest with ourselves and we'll try something different. So I think, yeah.
You've taken bits from everyone, but I am going to close you on this. So if you had one person that had the biggest sway on your career, who would you think it is?
Oh, that's really tough. Really,
you don't have to shout them out. You can just, but if you think throughout every part of your journey, one person or one point that really...
That's a really hard one. And it isn't a line manager, actually. It's someone who currently works in my team. I won't name her because she will be mortified if I did. But she's just a massive inspiration to me, in that when I took over a team, then she was working part-time. She was kind of coming in, doing the hours, not really kind of... She was great, but that was it.
Just doing
not
the job.
aspirational,
Doing the job.
not kind of career progression in mind or anything like that. I just remember having a conversation with her and going, well, why don't we do it like that? And there was just this little spark, and you nobody see it, and you kind of go, come with me, like come with me. Imagine what we could do together if we lean into this. Let's lean into that a little bit and then see where we go. She is thrown. She's incredible. She's super talented, and she challenges me to be a bit better every time, you know, because she's ambitious, but she's not cocky, and she's not looking for the glory. She just loves it and wants to do a great job. And what's even better, she's got herself to the point now where she's running her own team.
Nice.
And she's now influencing the next layer.
You're really selfless, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know
The
about that.
biggest influence on your career, and you're like, this person.
Deflect.
But she's
In a nice
massive.
way.
She's
That's
a
amazing.
massive influence.
That is
so,
great.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So that leads us on nicely to our final question. If there was one thing that you could change about the people and or talent space, what would that look like for you?
I'm going to have a 1A and a 1B, if that's all right. My 1A is, can we please put salaries, age ranges, on adverts, everywhere.
Here.
Just
Wait.
do that.
Can you just repeat that, just in case people missed it?
Salaries on adverts, at least a top and a bottom end of a range.
Why?
Because it creates so much noise. People don't apply because they don't know what level that is off. It's not clear enough in the job description. It's a bit wily all over the shop. You also get people who are applying and they're never going to take their job because it's 30k less than it should be for them. So all it does is create disappointment, hope, that's false hope. It's entirely frustrating. It feels really inauthentic. It feels as though that employer is trying to get, oh, well, what would you come for?
Yeah.
Rather than what it's worth.
I think also a lot of it, we've had a few situations recently, I won't go into it too much, but I think also once you start advertising, it creates an air of transparency within the organisation. It's not that awkward
integrity, isn't it?
kitchen
Yeah.
coffee chat. How much are you on?
Yeah. Have you seen that advert?
Yeah.
You on that? It's all of that. Transparency is absolutely key. So that's my 1A.
I actually love that. I think that's the best answer we've had so far. I love that one.
But I think the other thing I'd change is kind of like, we know that the next generation, they're going to have kind of 30 different jobs in their career. They're going to work across 7-8 different sectors. We need to get ready for that. So we need to stop saying, well, if you haven't done that before, you can't do this. We need to be unpicking it. What are the skills you need to be able to work in this environment? And you can move between sectors. It's absolutely critical because the advantages that brings to your business off the scale.
Love that. You see, the world we live in quite often in the essentials on a job description is experience required. How do you get experience unless someone's willing to give you experience?
Yes. And you miss such great talent by being that particular.
You need a job to get experience, but in order to get the job, they want you to have experience.
God,
it makes it's such a disconnect. What are you going to say? Don't get us started.
I was going to say, no, if everyone lived and died by that, we'd never be here doing what we're doing right now, because I was the biggest risk ever when I first got a job in recruitment. So
It was amazing carpet laid, but we still haven't got our carpet laid at home 4 years later, right?
Gemma always takes like basically we're going to do some outtakes of what Chris hasn't done or what Chris does do that annoys her.
No, I've been quite well behaved on this episode.
Yeah, she has. It's a really good place to finish up, Jules. If people want to connect with you or reach out to you and communicate with you, where's the best place to connect and communicate with you?
Yeah, LinkedIn, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with people. Really interested to kind of share some ideas, understand what if we've got common challenges, those kind of things. We're all in this together, ultimately.
We're going to talk to you about something off camera. You're going to become a part of our community. But guys, if you're still watching at home, or if you're in the car, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and we will have some new episodes out soon.
It's a wrap.
Thank you.